again, and welcome to the Author Roundup. This special segment of the Book Connection Show showcases emerging indie authors who join us for a discussion of their newly published books. Join us for a conversation with our next guest author. Hi there, welcome to Author Roundup. If you're new here, hello, my name is Emma, one of the hosts for the show. Today I have with me Archway Publishing self-published author CJ Johnson. She is a bird enthusiast, wife, mother, grandmother, and now author. Her book is called All for the Birds. Hi CJ, how are you today?
Hi, super.
Good.
How are you doing?
I'm very good. Well, I just want to say welcome to the show and congrats on your published book.
Thank you.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about your book?
I can tell you a lot about my book.
About
I have been rehabilitating wild birds for 31 years. I'm not licensed, so I take the birds that you don't require a license for, but I'm really good at capturing hawks and owls and injured birds and transporting them to the women who have licenses to do that. So my daughter's 22 now. Her whole life, she grew up going on rescues with me and raising birds.
Mm-hmm.
And she's adopted. She's quite tall and very exotic. And she said during the pandemic, "Hey, Mom, why don't you write a book about a mother and daughter team who rescue birds? And one of them goes a little too far, and they start getting revenge on people who hurt birds." And I said, there might be something there. I said, we'd have to make it very different from our lives because I have 3 sons and then I adopted my daughter. I said, it should just be the 2 of them. She can't be married. They have to be completely emotionally dependent on each other every way so that they don't see the flaws in each other. Mm-hmm. So as one of them goes off the rails and starts really taking it too far and punishing people who hurt birds, the other one's completely oblivious. Mm-hmm. And their lives are carrying on until it's too late and the authorities are involved. So none of that's a surprise ending. Even if you read the back of the book, it explains that it's the daughter who starts. Mm-hmm. She becomes a vigilante. Mm-hmm. And in really dark ways. So,
wow, very interesting. So the main characters' names are Ava and Gloria. Ava is the daughter, right?
Yeah.
So she has a very, gentle, nurturing love for birds, but yeah, like you said, and the same devotion eventually drives down a different path. How did you go about shaping that type of character with different, morally layered motivations?
So the first situation, she stumbles upon it and she goes with her gut instinct, like, I'm going to take care of this right now.
Oh, gosh.
And it takes place in Park City, Utah, where we lived for 22 years. And we know Park City very well because we hiked a lot. So due to the weather that occurs, sometimes it can snow into June, and it begins in May, and snow comes and it covers up all evidence. Mm-hmm. She gets away with it and thinks, if I got away with that, I'm going to plan the next one. And I think that's where it gets pretty messed up. And again, the mother's completely oblivious, up in Park City, happily feeding baby birds, living her dream. She's a writer. She writes from home. She writes for a lot of national magazines. I did that forever. I wrote for 4 different national magazines from home, and I had 4 kids, and I had a house full of baby birds in the baby bird season. And so my poor kids really, truly grew up with the phone ringing, people showing up even late at night, bringing baby birds to the house. Oh. And so I wonder if they thought, oh yeah, this is what all moms do. But so my daughter is named Lily, and she was very much a part of kind of the story outline. There was a lot I wouldn't tell her, like the ending. Like,
Oh.
I don't want her to know how this ends. And there's a murder scene. I actually had her read it. And she said, just that is so unrealistic. No one would do it that way. And I said, okay, so, I've never murdered anyone. So what about this doesn't make sense? So she said, think about this. And so I completely rewrote that chapter, and it turned out it's terrifying. When people read that chapter, they're like, okay, I've got PTSD. And I said,
Oh
well, we
my.
must have done it right.
Yeah, it
Then,
must have been effective.
yeah.
Wow.
So I didn't tell her how it was going to end.
Uh-huh.
So I'd written quite a bit at the beginning. I knew how it was going to end, and I wrote the ending. But then so much happened in life, and I was stuck for like a year and a half. I didn't touch the book. I thought, how do I get from the beginning to the end?
Mm-hmm.
How do I bring them together? And I would go on walks with my dogs, and every day I would see the most vivid scene. It was like a scene from a movie. And I thought, that's the next chapter. And my poor dogs, I was like, let's go get them
Before I
home.
forget.
And I would sit down, and I usually close my eyes and put my hands on the keyboard, and I just let the story pour out. It takes about 3 hours to get a
Uh-huh.
chapter out, set it aside. Then the next day, I'd walk my dogs again, like maybe, and every day I would see, oh my gosh, this is the next logical scene.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got it from beginning to end, and I thought, wow. And of course, then I cleaned it up and cleaned it up. And when I let my daughter read it, I was terrified. Like, what is she going to think of the ending? Because the character looks just like her. She's very tall, she's brown, exotic.
Mm-hmm.
She's a dancer, like my daughter. And my daughter asked me to put those attributes in. And I thought, still, if she reads all of this and it looks like I believe my daughter could do this, it could be bad.
Mm-hmm.
But she called me and said, oh my gosh, Mom, the ending is the only way it could have ended. And I said, thank you, because it, I don't know how else it could have ended. So I've had a great time reading the reviews that are rolling in through Amazon and other book
Nice.
sites. They're like, oh, this is not what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to
Uh-huh.
be this sweet story about a mother and her daughter who love birds. And they
Started
said
off
it
that way.
is that, but then it kind of goes to a
Dark.
really dark place.
Yeah, that's so interesting. So did you have from the beginning this concept of all these themes in mind, like this type of thriller with all these themes like trauma and obsession and justice? Was that like your goal from the beginning, or did it
Yeah.
morph into that like with your daughter's, like guidance and advice?
So I think she becomes emboldened. I think the way she goes about it is more violent and
Hmm.
more, I'm going to show you. And it's so far into the book before her mother realizes what happens. And the mother starts, she starts changing as a human and feeling completely like a failure, that she's failed her daughter in not teaching her properly, and that she instilled too much love for birds into her daughter, and that she really has a gut feeling that what the police are asking her if her daughter's involved is, yeah, she is, even though she doesn't tell them on her own. She's trying to figure out, how can I shut this down without my daughter know I'm shutting this down?
Hmm.
And then the daughter starts realizing, oh no, my mom knows what I'm doing. How can I stop my mom from stopping me? So
Goodness.
it gets complicated,
Yeah.
and it's a horror novel for sure, and that's my favorite because I'm a big Stephen King junkie.
Okay.
But woven through it is a lot of the reality of what you go through when you're rehabbing birds. People have no clue, really. I say, oh, I rehab wild birds. They say, oh, that's cool. They don't know what comes into my home, what I feed them, what happens if they die. And so there are several scenes I thought were important to write about Gloria euthanizing birds.
Mhm.
And she's at the point in her life after having done it so many years that it's like, okay, this is my reality. There's nothing emotional or dramatic about it. It's a matter of fact thing for her. And I think that proves crucial as you get towards the end.
Mhm. Yeah, and speaking of, the natural world and how that plays a role in your story, not just like symbolically, but as like an active force that alters like evidence and consequences. How did nature really like shape the plot and tone of your book?
So, nature in regard to birds or to the location, or in what way?
Birds specifically, yeah.
Yeah, I think it is the deepest core for Gloria, and at the core, the greatest love that Ava has. As much as they love each other for as mother and daughter, they practically worship these birds.
Mhm.
So to know that anyone is intentionally killing them or intentionally hurting them
Yeah.
is absolutely unacceptable. I have there was one review I read that I thought, wow, this is the best one. Could I?
Thank you.
Okay. So I read this and I cried, and I know the
Oh.
story. Um, it said it's a beautifully told story about a dedicated bird rehabber and her adopted daughter bound together by their love for the wild creatures they protect. The writing is lyrical and vivid, filled with striking descriptions of birds and their behaviors that echo the characters' own emotional journeys. Beneath the feathers lies a moving exploration of love, abandonment, and the fragile yet powerful bonds we build or destroy. The plot is quick, unique, and quietly suspenseful, offering just enough darkness to keep the pages turning. Rich in atmosphere and heart, this novel delivers a memorable glimpse into the world of bird rescue and the complex relationships, actions.
So did you know who that review came from or no? It's just a
She
random review?
posted her first name, so I don't know how to track her down,
Oh
but
my
I just
gosh, that's
thought,
beautiful. Yeah.
I think, yeah, I was like, ah, I'm so glad people got to learn more about, they can learn more about birds,
Yeah.
absolutely, and what it takes to care for a little nestling that has no feathers. To take it from that to the point where you're ready to release it is quite a
Yeah.
journey.
Wow. Yeah, that's
And it goes on every year in my home still. So,
really.
yeah, I don't live in Park City any longer, and there's a
Okay.
great lady up there now who takes just about everything. Thank God, she's become really wonderful at what she does. There used to be no one, and I
Mhm.
would tell people I'm not licensed. I can't take it to the Salt Lake Valley to someone who can take it. So
Yeah, okay. And so how did you get into this rehabilitating birds? How did this love start for you?
I've always loved birds. They're absolutely magical. But when I was a young adult, I spent 6 years as a docent at the Tracy Aviary in Salt Lake City. They
Mhm.
have the second largest collection of birds in the United States.
Oh,
So I
wow.
took a lot of classes about bird behavior, and then I gave tours and I taught people about bird behavior, and I helped with the bird show and in the education department. So 6 years there. There are a lot of scenes that take place at the Tracy Aviary. So, knowing it really well and the pathways, it was very helpful in describing the events that happened there.
Okay, very cool. And so it's something that you and your family also are involved in as, like grow up with birds and it's just like a matter of fact of their life or
They're innocent bystanders. They're, what are they going to do? The birds are there in the house. They're aware of their sounds and they're aware of the feed me cries. And they're like, Mom, I think it's time to feed the birds. And I'm like, I think it's time to feed you. And then I'm going to feed the birds. But I don't know. It was all of my kids.
Yeah.
Since the second from the oldest was just 1 year old, I
Mhm.
started taking in
Oh,
birds.
nice.
Yeah. So they can feed birds. Some of them can force feed baby birds if necessary, that can't eat on their own yet. They know how to keep them warm. There's just a lot and a lot of
Yeah.
sweet things. Even my husband has gotten good at going to do capture with the bee. If we
Oh,
hear there's a mom duck and all the babies and they're stuck, in the road or whatever, I have a so I
oh,
can just pull up and capture. Sometimes he comes with me if
uh-huh,
it's a lot of traffic or whatever.
uh-huh. Yeah. And so in your book, how much would you say is there like education and obviously research that you have done over the years or just knowledge that you know, how much knowledge and education is in your book compared to like storytelling?
I had to keep the focus on the story because I
Okay.
think if you throw too much information in, you're going to bog it down and slow it down. I
Hmm.
love a book that you can pick it up, take it
True.
on a trip with you, and you're on that beach or you're on that flight, and that flight it feels like it was 2 hours and it was five.
Yeah.
So I've obviously the story is the most important thing, but I, was able to weave in facts about birds
Hmm.
throughout. So that I thought most people won't know this, and this is quite fascinating. Put that in.
Yeah.
And I have had some people say, I learned so much about birds. And I go,
That's a
excellent,
goal. Yeah.
bonus. That wasn't the goal, but it's like a bonus.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Very cool. And so, so Gloria, ultimately decides she must intervene in her daughter's actions. Did you always know that the story would lead to mother versus daughter in a sense, or did that evolve through writing?
It did because I told you I wrote the beginning and I saw the ending. I thought, oh my God, this is the most terrifying thing, the terrifying moment for Gloria to come to in her heart and know that's what she has to do. And I wrote the ending.
Mm-hmm.
And it really was the scariest thing for my daughter to read it.
Yeah.
So I knew she had the book for 2 days. And when I saw her call coming in, she said, Mom, you did it.
Oh.
She said, I'm so proud of you. And she kept saying, the ending just got me. And I said, I know. So, as far as family and friends who've read it so far, I've had a lot of calls that say, oh my God, the ending. And I say, I know.
Oh my
But
gosh.
they all say, there's no other way to end it, is there? And I said,
Yeah.
at that point, no. At the point they reach, what else could possibly happen? So
Happened.
I think if there had another person who was really struggling with the violence of one scene, and she said, I don't know if I can do this violence. And I said, keep reading, get to the end. You'll be fine.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I throw a few chapters in that are of sweetness and kindness and
Mm-hmm.
reaching out and helping people and really helping birds. Just let people catch their breath. If every chapter can't be murder, murder, murder,
Yeah.
murder, it just can't. And
Yeah.
so, to mix it up and to help people,
Yeah.
it kind of helps them refocus on the characters too, who they are as people. That
Yeah.
we're all three-dimensional. I didn't want these one-dimensional characters. I
Mm-hmm.
wanted people to see the really sweet, wonderful sides of Ava and the quirky, weird sides of Gloria. She's not perfect. I didn't want her to look like an angel. She's quite odd socially. She works out of her home and doesn't have a lot of friends. Her world is her daughter and the birds. So
Mm-hmm.
anyway,
Yeah.
I just wanted him to be three-dimensional.
Yeah. And so also with character development there's also like themes and I'm sure that readers are asked to grapple with very complex questions like can love justify violence and can justice turn into cruelty, things like that. What type of conversations did you hope that this book sparks with readers?
I think some of it ties into a lot that's going on right now with we've had some vigilantism in our country.
Sure. Yeah.
Really extreme examples that hurt so many people, hurt more than the intended person. It never amounts to anything good. It hurts so many more people than the intended target.
True.
So,
Yeah.
and I think that's true for this story as well. But I hope it makes people pause and realize violence is not the answer.
Correct.
As
Yeah.
much as it hurts your heart and your soul to see these things going on, you cannot respond with violence. It doesn't help.
Yeah.
It doesn't make it better.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't fix what's happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really true. Um, and so Ava, she has, these she's very three-dimensional, like you said. Um, she's very, raw, and her story is very tragic. But what do you hope readers really truly understand about her, even if they can't, obviously condone her actions?
I think that you need to know a little bit about adopted children,
Okay.
the abandonment that's always in there in
So
this
that part is
whole
in
thing.
your book too?
I don't specifically address
Okay.
it, but the fact that this daughter is adopted
Okay.
and she's a person of color being raised by a little white woman,
Mhm.
and culturally her mother can never help her experience what she is. And as my daughter's gotten older, she has said things like, do you have any idea how difficult it was to be a brown person in a family with a bunch of white people? And I said, no, tell me about that.
Mhm.
So there's that. There's the fact that her mom, I think Gloria's she's on the spectrum somewhere. I don't know if
Mhm.
did you read the funeral scene where she goes to the funeral? She's quite odd. She does not know how to approach people and have a normal conversation.
Mhm.
So Ava's growing up in this isolated setting with just her mother in the home, and she watches her quirky little mom. I don't think she really knows how to have normal social interactions. I don't think she had a chance just being adopted by this woman who felt completed as soon as she had this little adopted daughter who
Mhm.
grew up to be a giant, and my daughter is quite tall. But anyway,
Yeah, I
so
I think in that aspect, a lot of people will relate to that, whether it's mother-daughter or,
yeah,
father and daughter, mother and son, will relate to that aspect as adopted family or not, as far as just trying to
yeah,
understand and, have empathy, towards your child and vice versa. So I think that's a great
yeah.
portion that you put in there.
And I also think parents know sometimes we love our kids so much we don't see their flaws.
Hmm.
Other people could tell us, and we'd say, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah, right.
I I think we don't know a lot about our kids. Sometimes they become grown-ups and tell us things they did as kids, and you're saying,
What?
"What?
I had no
What
idea.
happened? You did that?"
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I've had so much support from my husband and from my daughter in writing it.
Hmm.
And she said, Mom, I feel like this is my book too. It's like when people say, we're
Co-writer.
pregnant. You know the husband's not pregnant, but he's participating. She said, I'm like that. Like this is our book
I'm
because I
included.
was the cheerleader. We wrote this book.
Yeah. That's so,
There's some
yeah.
truth to that because she was the enthusiasm and the gut check sometimes, but there was so much I didn't let her read. There was one
Yeah.
murder scene I thought, I don't want her to know what's coming. I'd like her to read this book and be shocked by that chapter. And
Yeah.
so I put so much time into that chapter. That's my favorite.
Uh-huh.
That's my favorite.
And so
But
has writing this book brought you guys closer together, or were you already like pretty close,
we
together?
were already really close, but
Yeah.
yes, we are a team. So I have a book writing on Valentine's Day at Dolly's bookstore in Park City. And her birthday's February 15th. And she said, I'm going to the book signing with you. That's like my early birthday present to see
Oh,
you at a book signing. And she said, I want to sit next to you. I said, absolutely
that's
sit
so
next to me.
cool. That's so, how
Yeah,
old is she?
she's 22. She'll be
Oh,
23 on the 15th of February.
oh, that's so exciting. I bet that's
Yeah,
really fun to share that, with her.
yeah. It is. And then, but one of my sons said, why'd you dedicate the book to her? And I said, read it.
Yeah, you'll get
I said, do you even know what it's about? And he said, no. I said, there you go.
it.
maybe if you got really involved, then I'd dedicate a book to you. But I started the next one. We own a self-storage facility,
Mm-hmm.
and I work there a lot. And so it's called storage. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if you know anything about it, but a lot of things can go on at a self-storage facility that are pretty unusual. So it gives me so much material. I was like,
There
I
you go.
have just the most
Good.
amazing material. I could just pick a topic and go.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Um, and so also the title of your book, All for the Birds. So did the title come to you early in the writing process, or did it come once the story and themes were, developed?
after I was finished writing, I tried several titles and I thought in the end, everything they did, it was all for the birds.
That's the perfect title. Yeah.
Yeah. I felt it. I mean, I said it out loud and I said, that is what they did. And
Mhm.
I know it's not a happy ending. I know that's no secret, but everything they did was all for the birds. And
Mhm.
so let's hope that some of it was it worth it? I don't know.
Yeah. So how do you hope readers will interpret the title once they've reached the final page, and what type of metaphor do you think that your title
They'll
holds for
know
long
because
term?
I put that sentence in the acknowledgments. Like, oh, and in the end, they did it all for the birds.
Mhm.
So if they get down, that they read the acknowledgments, they'll get it. It's right
Okay,
there.
okay, okay. And so what if this story was adapted to screen? What
Yeah,
type of
I would
what
like to
type
do
of
that.
scenes or emotional, beats would you want to see brought to life without giving too much away?
So there's a great scene at the aviary, and this actually happened while I was there. I went to the aviary one morning, and the male workers were really upset. They chased this man out of this enclosure who was trying to rape a crane.
Oh
And
my God.
almost a year to the day before, it was like that same guy had climbed the fence and he had raped a demoiselle crane and it had killed her in the process. So he came back and they chased him off. They almost caught him. So in the book is a little different from that. And I think that would be a remarkable scene. And I think as a screenplay, I've thought it through. This is not like a huge budget. The scenes are beautiful in Park City, and if we could get the permission to film in. So, like, and my
Mm.
son has a friend that does a lot of screenwriting, and he has said he wants to write the
Ooh.
screenplay with me. And I said, good, since I don't know how to do that. I have
I
to
know
read it how to do that.
this would be
But
such a good movie.
I think it would make a great movie. And
Yeah.
yeah, I've asked my daughter, would you like to play Ava? She said, oh no, I am not doing that.
Who would play her
So I don't know
then?
if you, yeah, I don't know if you read the description of her. The character Ava actually has three tear ducts. My daughter has three tear ducts. She has two. She has an extra one under the right eye. It is right down
Oh
here
my gosh.
and it is functioning. It is the craziest thing.
Oh
People
my
look at her all the
god.
time and say, oh, you have mascara right there. Let me wipe it off.
Like,
So
no,
that's
that's
part of
okay.
Ava's character that she has three tear ducts. I'm like, well, Lily, you're the only person that I know with three tear ducts. So how about think about it? Think about it.
Yeah.
And she does not want to do it. Ah, so
Oh.
no, I think it would be a great movie. It's one of those the girl with the dragon tattoo kind of vibe.
Ooh,
Like she's
yeah.
out to get him.
Yeah. Have you thought of who would play Gloria? Or who
Huh.
could play Gloria?
I
That's
don't
a good
know. She's
question.
supposed to be this tiny little 5'2" lady with really curly hair and round glasses. I don't know who
Yeah,
would play her. I don't know.
a
She's in
good question.
her yeah. She's like in her late 50s, so I don't know who would do
Mhm.
that. I don't know.
And so you mentioned earlier, so this genre is thriller, horror.
Yeah.
What type of audience do you think you wanted to appeal to? Um,
People who love an escape. If I
mm,
feel like things are really stressful in my life, I learned this when I was a teenager. Pick up a good book that completely draws you in. So my
um,
goal when I write books is to always grab them, get them in the story, and keep them going. Don't let them stop. I
Mm-hmm.
don't lead in slowly. I jump right into what's happening so that they can immediately immerse and escape and stay on that journey. I want them to stay on that journey and not put that book down.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the goal. And the pace is fast. And I intentionally put in a real slow, sweet chapter about three-fourths through, let people catch their breath and see another side of Ava before she's back at it. So
Mm-hmm. Very cool. And so, I when did you start writing your book, and how long did it take you to complete your book?
Sometime during the pandemic, when my daughter was stuck at home from high school, and we were sitting at the kitchen counter in Park City, and she said, "Do you know what would make a great book?" And I said, "What?" And we pinged that around a little bit, and I started it. I wrote the first two chapters and let her read them, and she said, "Oh my gosh, Mom, I think there's something here." And then I wrote the ending. And then when she graduated from high school, we moved down to Salt Lake City. I don't know if you moved, but we said we couldn't take the winters anymore. We moved. She started college. Several things happened, and I set it aside for like a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
And then when our life settled down, I said I need to get back to that book. I kept. It was just such a part of my thoughts, and I thought it's time.
Mm-hmm.
So once I got hooked back in, I was writing a chapter a day. It just
Oh
was like
wow.
last January. I just was writing a chapter a day and then cleaning it up, and until I felt like it was solid enough to let my husband read it because he's an
Mm-hmm.
avid reader and very critical of writing.
Mm-hmm.
And when he said, "Oh boy, this is something," I thought, okay, the critic says to keep going. But I have friends who are also novelists, and I had them weigh in, read it and weigh in. And because I thought, well, you just don't go by what your husband says. You find a novelist and have them read it also.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's been one of the, I miss it. I miss the characters. I miss seeing the next chapter. I really miss writing it and being on the journey. When you're in the middle of the journey, it's the most exciting part of creating it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's over now. So now I'm
Yeah.
on to storage, which will be pretty pretty creepy. But anyway, I
Yeah.
know I have the first chapter. I had something happen at work one day, and I thought, oh, that's the beginning of a horror novel right there. It has begun.
Easy inspiration.
So yeah, yeah,
Nice.
certainly.
Have you always enjoyed writing?
When I was younger, I thought, I don't think I can write. But I was such an avid reader
Mm-hmm.
when I got to college and I started taking writing classes, and my teachers were saying, "Hey, you're really good at this, especially creative writing." And I said, "I am." I think it was the hundreds and hundreds of books I read. And then as an adult, to start reading Stephen King. The
Mm.
first book of his I read was Cell. I don't know if you read Stephen King.
I
Blew my
have.
mind. I said, good people die. The good guys die in his books. Not all of them, but enough that I said, oh wow. So I just like on a rampage for years reading his books, and I thought I want to write horror novels.
Mm-hmm.
As
Very.
and I mean that's a little off-putting to some people. After I wrote for all these magazines for years, and that's
Mm-hmm.
nice. Either the pitch a story and your editor says, go do that. I like that. Or for them to assign me a topic I know nothing about and have to do a lot of research and interview people and write that. That's great. But if you're creating a story from beginning to end and one that's going to keep the reader locked in, it's
Mm-hmm.
a whole other animal.
Yeah.
Do you write?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I don't. I mean, I wrote in college, and I've always wanted to write a children's book, but no, I haven't. I haven't actually like written anything in a long time.
So maybe today is your day to start that
Yeah.
children's book.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely should. I like to journal, so that is like all the writing I do, but I would, yeah, like to get into more like creative writing too. Yeah.
I don't know. I think I appreciate the art form so much, and it has
Hmm.
been a true gift in my life. I'm looking at my bookshelf, all the books I've read, and some of them I reread. A lot of Stephen King I reread many
Uh-huh.
times. Like, wow, this is brilliant. How did he know? How did he do this?
Hmm.
I
They're so
don't put
big
as much
books.
time in to write the complete surroundings like he does. Like his books, he writes 1,000-page books. I'm the 220-page book girl.
Yeah.
If I can, complete a complete story from beginning to end to do it in like 220 pages, I'll do that. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
want
like
the
it is
10,000
like this
pages.
big. Like
I've
so
read
how did you go about your writing style? Were you intentional about your writing style when you were writing your book and how you wanted to be seen as a writer?
I prefer to write the way I speak. If I was going to sit down and tell you a story of something that happened, I use the same approach in writing. I sit down and let the story pour out like I
Mhm.
would tell it to someone, so it flows,
Yeah,
and then I
true.
clean it up later. And in writing for Gloria, who's a writer, and grammar is her thing. She corrects people's grammar. She speaks very properly. It's almost off-putting because it's quite proper, and her daughter has her more of a casual way of speaking. And
Hmm.
so it was one thing I had to make very clear so their voices were distinct.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah. So no, I like to tell stories to people too. If I'm talking, I go, "Oh my God, you would believe what happened today." I like to tell stories about the outrageous things that I've seen. And so I
Yeah.
really enjoy telling stories to people. So it's a variation of that.
Okay. And so what advice would you give to a writer working on their first book?
They all get so hung up on, I have to have one clear chunk of time to get it done. No, you
Hmm.
don't. And if you
Hmm.
keep thinking that, you will never get it written. Write a bit every day, just one word after another. Let the story pour out. If you can feel the story and see it, sit down and write it the way you would say it. But if you have 1 hour a day, do it. And
Hmm.
the next day, pick it up. But don't wait for this huge chunk of quiet, alone time that's not coming.
Yeah.
And then what
Mm.
if that time comes and you're not inspired? If you're inspired and you see something and you want to get it into the story, do it.
Yeah.
Don't wait. What is everyone waiting for? Everybody's always saying, "Oh gosh, I want to write a book someday." And I say, "Today's the day. Start it today."
Yeah.
It's so completely rewarding. It
Yeah.
really is. It takes everything you got for your creativity and your writing skills. And did I do this correct? And to arc it so that you're building up to, you're seeing the transformation of the characters, the development of the characters, and you're leading up to the climax,
Hmm.
and then how you're going to take it down and unwrap it and tidy it up and tie it up at the end.
Hmm.
So I think if everyone's writing a novel, they're not going to get senile, we're not going
Hmm.
to get dementia, we're going to be, it's such a complete brain exercise. It's really good for you in a lot of ways.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that is true. So did you say that you are working on a new book right now?
Yep.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
You just have like
It's,
a chapter?
yes, it's just so
Awesome.
gross. I'm like, oh my, okay. But when I saw this thing at the storage facility, I said, oh, I'm so in. And sometimes I'm thinking about it, and I was there full time. I've just hired someone to replace me. So I said, I've got to write. I can't do everything. So she is wonderful. She's
Hmm.
doing really well. So I will be transitioning to part time, just 1 or 2 days a week instead of
Okay.
working full time, and then I will have my time to write, and I'm just really looking forward to it.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm
Very good.
excited about this one too because it could go any which way.
Yeah.
Anything could happen. I
Yeah.
have situations happen at work, and I think that's going in the book. And yet, it doesn't have to be just one thing.
Yeah.
I like to layer terror. If you can layer in different types of terror coming at the reader, so that they're like, oh my God, what is going to happen? What's going to happen next? I think that'd be really informative. Also, the realities of having a self-storage facility, just like the realities of raising birds. People have no clue. They might have a much better understanding after reading All for the Birds.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And so what has family and friends thought about your book?
Okay, let's see. Comments. Some of them were like, that was one of the scariest, best books I've ever read, but so sad.
That's so
A
sad.
lot of people have said, how does Lily feel about this? Was she upset that you made this character that looks so much like her do these horrible things? And she said, I say, whose idea do you think that was?
She's my
Lily
number one
said,
fan.
I go, Lily said, make the daughter go off the tracks and start killing people. Make it the daughter. And the mom has no idea. She's just absolutely adoring her daughter and the birds. And she's so busy writing in her own, she has this tiny little world. So I said, why don't you give her a call? If you don't believe me, call Lily and she will tell you how much of a part she played in this and how much she loves the scene. She's read it 3 times now.
Oh,
Since
nice.
it's gone to print, she's read it 3 times. And she's like, Mom, I was reading the book again last night.
Mhm.
Oh, I love it. Okay, good. Let's hope that, and so she's been encouraging people to read. Obviously, a lot of her friends aren't into buying books, but is really nice. A lot of different people that I've heard from. Some of these people I have no idea who they are,
Mhm.
posting reviews and buying my book. And of course, I'm going to do what I can to market it, get it
Mhm.
out there more. I think the book signing in Park City will help because
Yeah,
President's Weekend and now whole week, so many tourists from around the country and the world come to Park City. Pretty amazing tourist town with a lot of friendly people. And
mm,
they all love to come to Dolly's bookstore. So if it's Valentine's Day at Dolly's bookstore, the lady that coordinates the book signings was wonderful. We had picked a date originally January, and she got back a hold of me. She said, wait, I think we're going to maximize exposure and book sales if we do it on Valentine's Day. And I said, let's do that.
let's do it. Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
perfect idea.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah. So that would be good.
I feel like this book would be a really good book club book as well. Has
I
anyone told
know.
you they read it in their book club?
Uh, so a couple people that wrote reviews said this would be a great book club book. And I want to reach out to them and say, I'll come to any book group and do a Q&A. I'll come answer those questions because they have a lot of questions. And I do have a dear friend. She bought copies for all her friends in her book group and she said, we're gonna read it. She's giving them to them for Christmas. And then I said, okay, I'll come for the Q&A. And she said, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I said, let's see what your friends think. They'll think you're bringing a crazy lady to the party. So I don't know. There's a little crazy. I think you have to have a little bit of crazy in you to write a horror novel. And saying that, I don't think Stephen King's crazy. I think he's
Mm-mm.
brilliant. He's a
Yeah,
genius.
truly.
I know.
Yeah.
I love him. I wish he was my friend.
Please,
Stephen, please be my friend.
please read my book.
I don't think that's going to happen, but
It could. You never know.
their dreams come true.
Yeah. Well, I also just wanted to ask, what is your, for bird enthusiasts out there, what is your favorite bird of all time? Do you have a favorite bird?
The simple little brown sparrow.
Brown
Oh,
sparrow.
I love them. And so legally, I can raise them. They're not protected. They're hardy. They're easy to raise. They're darling. Talk
Oh.
about cute baby birds. They come in naked, bare naked. There are 2 types of birds. They're altricial, the ones that are up in a nest that are hatchlings with no feathers, and they're helpless. And I take those in starlings and sparrows. Precocial birds are grown. They're on the ground. They hatch out of the nest, and they're on their own. If you think of like killdeer chickens,
Mhm.
they're born with feathers. They look really cute, and immediately they're up and running around, and their parents are showing them what to eat. So I
Mhm.
take in altricial birds that I have to take care of all day long.
Hmm.
So sparrows, I think people
Sparrows.
don't appreciate the cuteness of them and how when they form their own flocks and I release them in the yard, they
Mhm.
do the cutest games. Like they get a feather and they play keep away. One of them will be running all around the yard with the feather, and the other sparrows are trying to get it and watching them take baths. My daughter and I will sit there forever and watch them take baths in
Oh,
the mud puddles and watch them run around with feather. They're so cute.
oh,
Yeah, the cutest little sounds too. Plus they eat bugs. Get them. I mean, they're awesome. I
yeah.
have a bunch of bird feeders, but they do a lot of good by eating with the bugs out there.
Mm. All right. Well, I think that's all the time we have today. Is there anything else that you would wish to say today or mention today, or do you have a website you'd like to share
Yeah,
with us?
it's www.carlajeanjohnson.com. So my full name is Carla Jean Johnson. So that's the author name on the book.
Okay.
And that's my website. It tells you a lot about the book. As my understanding that this interview today could be on the website as
Yeah.
well.
Uh-huh.
And we'll have some reviews up on there from people who've been reading it because it just launched recently. So this is really fun to be able to jump in and talk about it and everything.
Yeah.
No, but I think if you're looking for a great gift for someone for Christmas, go ahead and buy that book for them. Get them all for the birds.
Yeah, that's a good
It'll
idea.
be a
Christmas is right around
happy
the corner.
little uplifting book, for the holidays. Just so
Yeah.
happy.
Yeah. So happy.
So
Sometimes Christmas is
innocent.
too happy, so you need something that's
Yeah.
more, yeah, right? Yeah.
Tap it down, you guys. Come on, you're too happy. Read this book.
All right. Well, thank you
Well,
so much, Carla,
hey, thank
for,
you for your time. I appreciate it.
yeah, it's been a
Okay, have a
wonderful
fabulous
interview.
day. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you so
Thank you
much.
so
Have a
much.
great day.